Hey, it's Birdman. Time for another Your Vote 2018. Today we're talking with Miss Mazie Hastings. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
And you're running for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside,
That's correct.
one of the town
Two
council
seats.
positions. Yes.
Yes, there are two
Okay.
seats. I would like one of those.
Awesome. So, Mazie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up in Sholo?
Okay.
Not Sholo, in Pinetop
Pine Top.
Lakeside.
Pine Top Lakeside, right. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for this time. I found campaigning is expensive, it's time consuming, and I really appreciate an opportunity to speak to constituents or hopefully constituents. Um, and I thank you for that.
Mhm.
I'm Mazie Jean Hastings. I'm a senior, obviously. I'm a widow. I live in Lakeside in a very tiny cottage with 23 apple trees, pear trees, two huge walnut trees, two cats, and a dog on a half acre that backs up to Walnut Creek. If that sounds like a piece of paradise, it is.
That's awesome.
It is my little piece of paradise. I found after many years of coming up here 6 months of a year from Green Valley, where they had pecan groves but no beautiful forest, and spending our time in a park model, and then going home October the 31st reluctantly became more difficult every year to go home because this really was home. It was home to my partner that I met in Tucson, also widowed, and he spoke very affectionately of his time of hunting and fishing and the outdoor life in the forest, raising his three daughters, teaching them how to shoot and eat everything that they shot. Um, he was diagnosed with a terminal illness in 2015. We'd been here a year, and we still weren't going back to any place because we were home. And we loved it both. The golf course we didn't miss, or the swimming pool, or the clubhouse, and the country lifestyle was not for us. It was in a small town that I came from and enjoyed and loved, and he did too. Um, we found our little cottage the very last day we were going home, and everyone has a story who has a house here or a place of residence. Ours was that I went to the beauty shop. She talked endlessly about this beautiful little cottage that her parents had owned and all of its amenities, and it was just sitting on the market and had been for several years. The weeds were getting higher. And I said, gee, where is this little place? It sounds so good. So she told me, and we went to look at it. I did first. He was packing the truck to go home at the end of 5 o'clock. We had to be out of the park. And I called him and said, you have to come and look. I found something. And he says, I'm packing. What is it? I said, I'm not going to tell you. Just come over, turn on this street, and when you see me at the car out in front, that's where you stop. He came by. He was not very pleased and a little aggravated at me. But he got out of the truck and looked at it, and tears ran down his cheeks. We were home. That's our story of how we found Pinetop Lakeside, and I love it still. It is my forever home. I don't plan on going anywhere other than here. I did, during those 6 months that we were here, I found all kinds of things to keep me busy while he was doing some hunting and some fishing. I found nonprofits, which has always been a passion with me. My mother had a saying that's familiar to me that I employ myself: leg up, they will step up. We used to do dinners at Thanksgiving and Christmas in the San Francisco Bay Area for those that were needy. And we'd stand on our feet for hours and serve potatoes or stuffing or turkey. But it was the most rewarding experiences of my life and growing up. So I became really kind of addicted to 501Cs. I serve on the board of the White Mountain Women's Club in scholarship because I received a scholarship when I graduated from high school. I was a valedictorian, and one of the reasons I was chosen, I'm quite sure, from a great group of people who had equal grade point averages, was that I had perfect attendance in high school. That's the way I was brought up. And even though there were days I didn't really feel like going to school, I did it. It paid off. I still do it. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I've never missed a meeting. I'm on the board of Pinetop Senior Center. I don't miss meetings. I don't come late and leave early. It's in my personality. I support the Humane Society. I was the instrument in the Bay Area many years ago when I was working with Meals on Wheels with my mother, who was going from with the Meals on Wheels program. And I met a woman at the door, and she said, "Oh, the menu today, it really looks good. Could you have coleslaw?" I said, "Yeah, we do. It's coleslaw and whatever else it was." She said, "My cat loves the coleslaw." And I thought, a cat eats coleslaw? And then I realized that she couldn't get out of the house to do her own shopping. She was on Meals on Wheels for a purpose. And so her kitty cat was sharing her food every day at lunch. And the days that she had coleslaw was the day the cat really preferred. And I instituted that into the Meals on Wheels program with some difficulty, with a lot of state regulations and federal regulations, but we finally managed. If we went along behind the meal being presented, we could do that. We could give them the paper bag that had the dog food or the cat food, whatever it did. It was a small thing, but it was meaningful, I think. I think that I also contribute in Books for Kids Arizona. If you've been to Darby's here, one of the most popular restaurants in the city, and of course it's always delicious. There's a little box that's down at the end of the ramp that I fill once or twice a week. During the summer, it's sometimes more often than that, for children to take books, gently used, some are new, from Books of Arizona, which is a nonprofit. And all the women in the Women's Club bring them to the regular meetings. Nice, gently used children's books for the parents to read, for the children to read. It's supposed to be a little library, like you take a book and you bring a book. Reality
Yeah.
is the children take a book.
Yes.
But that's all right. That's what they're there for. We have one
Right.
down at Mountain Meadows. We also have one in the Veterans Park. That's a very rewarding bit of work. I support the Historical Society. They're having a great dinner coming up called a Milk Can Dinner with steamed vegetables and sausages and all kinds of meats. It's one of those secret little happenings that everybody who knows attends. You get your tickets earlier, you don't get in the door. It's held at Timber Mesa Fire Department. It's coming up. But that's what I've been doing. In the process of all of that, I became a working woman, not at my choice when I was married. My husband was very heavy set, type A behavior, we found out later. He went over with a heart attack when he was 34, and we had just adopted our 2 children. We're on our way to the 3rd child, and it was evident he was never going to be able to have a full day of work. And so I went to work. I used the degree I had from University of California, Berkeley, where I attended, and in library science. I could walk into a profession like my father, who was a mortician, always told me that I should do. And he was in the business that knew how unforeseen things come up and change your life.
Right.
And I was able to, within a week, have an offer of a job when my husband was very ill. And I worked until I retired from Berkeley when they got rid of everyone who was tenured when they had a budget crunch. They let us retire. I was in my 50s. And I did retire. I was very involved in League of Women Voters. We were working on Bay Area Rapid Transit System, which was a huge project that brought 52 cities together, 9 Bay Area counties, in some kind of an agreement to build the BART system.
Yep.
Very rewarding work. I went back to college and received a degree in urban studies, which was my real passion. I don't know if that's why they chose me to go on the Planning and Zoning Commission. It might have had something to do with it. I love that work. I think it's important work, and I have a good basic knowledge now, not only from education, but from serving on a board for 2 years. I was recently reappointed with the knowledge that if I should be so fortunate as to be elected to the town council, I would have to give that up. That's a Don't want to, but
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't sit on two at the same time,
no,
right?
you cannot. But I do see things in the city, or the town of Pinetop-Lakeside. We're not really a city, of course, um, of needs. One of them is Firewise, which is my real passion. We're surrounded by a forest. We have a terrible drought. It's a problem. They successfully evacuated without any deaths Rodeo Chestnut Fire. The last time I was here, living here, I was terrified. I didn't have my tank full of gasoline or even half full. I happened to be on empty waiting for the Safeway coupons so I could get my gas even cheaper. It's not a wise move. Should always have your gas tank at least half full, always, because there are a lot of people who don't have any gas and they're all in the gas station.
Yeah.
Um, we had a presentation by a woman on being fire safe of how to pack a backpack. I learned all kinds of things. I think we should all have that availability. I think that's a town's responsibility, just like our police and fire department is. I think it's a part of their responsibility is to educate the people that are here what to do. If you get that awful call, you have 10 minutes. Leave. Take your dog and your cat.
Yep.
With what? You know, so I have a backpack for myself and a backpack for my pets. And I have a cat cage in the back of my car, just in case. Anyway, I think recycling is an issue we're going to have to deal with. I think it's obscene that we have all these pine needles. We pay a gardener. If you're alone and you're widowed, that's what you have to do. And then there's no place to take them. We're stuck. In Wonderland Acres, we had a container for 5 days, the end of May. I went down on the second day. It was full. People were leaving garbage all around. It's very expensive to get another, bin to take it. They did do so because I'm a resident there. I was prepared to give identification that, I live here, that who brought all this stuff in yesterday? All kinds of people did. That's a problem I think it's solvable. Takes a bit of money and a little bit of imagination. But I think it's something the city ought to really do. I think this is the ideal retirement place. We have the big box stores over there in that other city. We have a huge, beautiful hospital of Summit. It's a beautiful hospital, wonderful staff, the best you could buy. And we have lots of retired folks up here that are still driving down to Tucson or Phoenix or Prescott to get care. They don't need to. We've got a great hospital up here, and it's expanding. We have the big box stores. They're over there. We have the charming small shops, small businesses. My partner and I ran a small business out of the back of his pickup truck. He was a knife sharpener at farmers markets, and he also was an artist. He didn't think he was, but he was. And I one day was offered half a table, reluctantly, that I'd show his things as long as they didn't know that he was the artist.
Right, right.
Okay, I had to be the artist. And I would look over these beautiful mesquite carving boards and serving boards and platters and lazy Susans. And I sold out everything before 10:30.
Wow.
First day. He was stunned. And I said, well, you need to, make some more quickly. So he turned into, even when he was terminally ill, he was in his workshop doing beautiful crafting of woodwork.
Awesome.
He was an awesome fellow. And but I know the routine of a small business, and ours was, of course, micro small. I know you don't borrow someone else's change. I know you get there early. I know you try to get a close parking place because at 2 or 3 o'clock when you're closed and you're hot and you have to load all your stuff, you should have come early to get the close parking place. There's a routine, a kind of a way that they operate. And our small businesses are beautiful. There's no reason we can't be up here all year with weekenders. We don't have that severe a winter. Well, we did in a few years back. We
Yeah.
had to shut us down for 3 or 4 days. But normally, you can drive up here. The roads are clear. We have something like 65 hotels, motels, places to stay. I think we can be a year-round retire without being in the country club. Not that they don't love where they are in the country club.
Right.
It's a different way than I look at retirement in a space that I can keep, that I can manage, that I can oversee, I can live in, I can have pets, and they don't bother anybody. I can enjoy the forest, and it's small town atmosphere, small town paper, beautiful Maverick magazine. We have everything here. I think it's a little piece of paradise, and I'm certainly willing to share it and promote it. And I think the town council is an excellent place to do that. I think they're a phenomenal group. They've made tough decisions. They've studied the issues. I watched them in the adoption of the budget. The adoption this time for the budget gave us a $350,000 excess. Well, it's not excess. It is excess in the
Right.
sense that we can now use it. That's phenomenal. Aren't many cities or towns in this state, in this country, that can make an accomplishment like that. And it didn't come easy. They fought every item on that budget, and I was really proud of them. I'd like to be a part of them. I'm impressed by them. I think I have some things to offer and a lot of things to learn. But I always go back to my mantra that my parents had. If you give someone a leg up, they will step up. And I think that's what we can do. We step up for our little businesses.
Very good. Well, thank you, Mazie Hastings,
Thank you very much.
running for the council position at the town of Pinetop-Lakeside. And we certainly know a lot more about you than we did at the beginning.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hey, that's going to be it for this episode of Your Vote 2018. I'm Birdman reminding you, go out and vote.